Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Happy Friday. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and today, Help for Dads. The Midlands Fatherhood Coalition has amazing services and programs for men who need a little help getting their families and lives back together. We'll talk to Santana Hayes about the resources available and a new program that puts cash in the hands of dads who need it. Santana, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Can't wait to hear about all the great things you guys are doing.
Definitely.
Well, singer-songwriter True shares his music and his journey. Thank you, sir, so much for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We look forward to talking to you and hearing from you also. That's coming up next on Coping with COVID. But first, your COVID community updates. Kershaw County schools have been open 1 week, and already there are 116 COVID cases reported and over 600 people in quarantine. Superintendent Shane Robinson says they may take certain classes virtual, and he also said schools will begin COVID testing next week. Meanwhile, Prisma Health says there is a 15% increase in younger people being hospitalized for COVID. In South Carolina, the number of hospitalizations are near where they were during the peak of the pandemic last year. A new law goes into effect this weekend. It will fine $25 to people who drive slow in the right lane. Now, this does not include people who are changing lanes, but instead those who drive under the speed limit and stay in the left lane, not the right lane. And today is the final day to vote for Mike Goodwin. You remember Mike, he was on America's Got Talent. He joined us here a couple of weeks ago with J. Anthony Brown. Well, he got to be in the wild card category, and in order for him to move forward, he needs your vote. So you can see the information on the screen. If you are interested, and we certainly hope you are, please vote for Mike Goodwin. You can see that you can vote at AGT Wildcard and at the Bow Tie, the comedy, to vote now. Now, today is the last day for you to vote for Mike Goodwin, Columbia, South Carolina's own Mike Goodwin, to go on to America's Got Talent. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID. Hey, visit scdheck.gov for the most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing, and also vaccines in and around South Carolina. Visit scdheck.gov. Now, you can also check the scroll at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. We will be sharing information, locations throughout the state on where you can get a COVID test and COVID vaccinations. Also, listen, if you are a veteran, vets are being taken care of at the VA. All veterans are getting their COVID vaccinations at the VA. All you have to do is either go onto the VA website, call, or email them, as you can see the information on the screen, and they'll hook you up. Several retail outlets are also offering the COVID vaccination in South Carolina, including Kroger pharmacies. You can see that information on the screen. CVS is offering COVID vaccinations, and also the CVS locations inside Target stores. Now, if you or someone you know is a senior or having some technology challenges, Get Set Up is offering free classes to help make your COVID vaccination appointment. Hey, don't miss your shot. Free rides from the Comet and vaccines also at the Comet bus system. That is happening through today on the corner of Sumter and Laurel Street at the main location of the Comet bus system. You can get your vaccination through today. The city of Columbia is also doing several vaccination locations. Those end today also. And that was tied to that contest for 2 round trip tickets to anywhere. That's pretty amazing. Also, listen, if you have lost someone due to COVID, FEMA is offering reimbursement for your COVID funeral expenses. You can see the info on the bottom of the screen. They've been doing it since early April. Funds are still available. So if you have a COVID-related death and you want reimbursement for your funeral expenses, contact the information on the screen and get one from FEMA. The South Carolina Bar Association and Legal Services toll-free number and website is available for rental and mortgage help. Richland County has a rental assistance program, richlandcountysc.gov. They still have funding available. And SC Housing has partnered with Dominion Energy for not only bill payment assistance for your Dominion Energy bill, but also your rental assistance program. All that information is not only right there on the screen right now, it'll be scrolling throughout the show. So please take advantage of all of these great resources. This weekend is the final days for you to get your insurance. Healthcare.gov is the place you need to go, or you can also go to signupsc.org. The deadline had been extended from April to August the 15th. And listen, even if you already have your health insurance, you can log on to the website, call healthcare.gov, because there are additional subsidies available for those of us who already have our health insurance. So make sure you check that out. And listen, don't wait until the 15th, because it's going to be harder to get through to those folks this weekend. Also, SC Hopes, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health has launched SC Hopes, which is a toll-free number and extensive initiative for folks who need help coping with COVID. Finally, there's a big back to school event happening tomorrow in West Columbia at Lakeview Empowerment Center from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Bring the kids for games, food. They're also collecting for the Harvest Hope Food Bank. They'll be giving out free school supplies and haircuts. This is tomorrow, Saturday, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at Lakeview in West Columbia. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We are streaming live on the Tailor Made production page on Facebook. That is the home of Coping with COVID. Please be sure to go over there, hit like, follow, and share, and get the notifications on when we're live on Coping with COVID, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m., and then first Monday of every month with comedian George Wallace. Hey, today we are talking about the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. They are an amazing organization that offers education and services for fathers trying to rebuild their lives and their families. Santana Hayes joins us to share why this is so important and what they're doing to help. Hey, Santana, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So tell us, why do dads need the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition?
Yeah, so Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, we got started back in the late 90s, and what we realized was there were services for mothers, there were services for children, but men were oftentimes left out of the equation. And so men, we're human beings just like anybody else. We have emotions, feelings, basic needs, but of course society has always said, you're a man, make it happen, figure it out. And so what fatherhood really represents as an organization is trying to provide support for men and fathers to actually have the resources they need to be successful, whether that's, social, building social skills around parenting, healthy relationships. We also look at economic mobility. I mean, everybody knows that, one of the most important things for men is to be able to provide for themselves and their families. Yeah. So we try to make sure that we provide those services to men who may not have actually gotten some of those foundations early in life, or for men who just may need reinforcement or support, just making sure that men know that there's a place that they can go in the Midlands that will provide support for them. We don't provide, handouts, but we just essentially try to provide, a hand up and give people a chance to really, tap into the life that they really want to be able to live.
Yeah, I love that because you're right. Everybody needs a little help now and then, and typically there are probably more. Just like clothes, there are more programs for women.
That's a good one. That's a good point. That's a great point. Exactly.
Yes, there's just more out there for kids and for moms. You talked about being able to provide services and programs. Tell us about some of the specific programs and services that a man could come to Midlands Fatherhood Coalition for.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and not to get too into the weeds, but what we do is we provide pretty much a 6-month curriculum. And in that 6-month curriculum, what we cover parenting classes. There's no handbook about how to be a dad. It just isn't.
Right.
So, a lot of times you'll find men when they're coming into fatherhood, they may be intimidated. They may be anxious in regards to what am I supposed to do? So we provide 6 weeks classes on parenting. We also do healthy relationships, 6 weeks about, how to have effective communication with the mother of your child, how to have better communication with your spouse, understanding, those key pieces to healthy relationships that can actually help you be successful in life. We also deal with economic mobility. That's talking about, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. I want to actually be able to take advantage of every opportunity that's out there for me, whether that's entrepreneurship, whether that's a career path that's going to, take me to the top of my game. I want to actually be able to ensure my success economically. And then we also deal with men's health. That's one thing people sometimes don't think about. But if you're not healthy inside, then you're only going to be so good on the outside. And it's just a matter of time before, things start falling apart. So men oftentimes are hesitant about going to the doctor, hesitant about taking care of their health. So we try to make sure that we put health and wellness at the forefront with the men who come to our program. And aside from that curriculum, we also, we create what's called a one-man plan. And essentially, what are your goals? What goals you want to set for the next 3 to 6 months, for the next, year, for the next 5 years. So, and we pretty much help those men navigate those goals. We provide the resources, the tools, whatever we can do to remove any type of roadblock. We try to do that to make sure that men are actually able to be successful, because when men succeed, families succeed. When men succeed, children succeed. When men are successful, you have successful communities. And so oftentimes men are forgotten, and we just know that that's not a solution for the problems that we see happening in the world today. So strengthening the man, strengthening the family, we know is going to create a residual effect down the road of a better world.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Santana. I mean, everyone in the family, everyone on the planet needs a specific set of resources and support. And you are so correct in saying that, foundationally, the man is supposed to be the foundation of the household, of our world. But so many times, for whatever reason, they're not. And so women have to step up. But here's a program, and I love that you guys are really focusing in on helping people where they are, because 100%. Everybody is somewhere,
Exactly.
Everybody needs some help getting. And, here's the other thing. We have such a negative connotation, I think, of men who we may perceive is not doing what he's supposed to do, and not looking at, well, what does he need to do what he's supposed to do?
Exactly.
We don't come on the planet knowing everything.
We don't. And oftentimes there's been in many situations, because there may have just been a lack of structure, a lack of discipline. There may have been past traumas that the individual may have had to deal with. We fail to realize these things impact men sometimes in different ways than women, Absolutely. And so with that being, especially when there's an expectation for you to always have it together. Yeah. And so when you find men who may have, they may be on the sideline of life, oftentimes that's because there's some issues that man is dealing with that he doesn't know how to cope with. Yeah. And so what we try to do is we try to get men back in the game. We try to provide a safe place for men to come. Every staff person who works for the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition are guys who are really committed to making sure that fathers have what they need to be successful. And so it's really a family environment, regardless of what office you step into, is a family environment where, men feel welcome, men feel that they can, talk to people who actually care and are going to actually do something about some of the things they may be facing. And to your point, we work with men from all walks of life. It's not just for, any specific type of dad. I've seen in my 10 years with the organization, guys come from every walk of life, from professionals to military to blue collar, black, white, Asian, the entire spectrum of fathers. And I just recognize that everybody, has a need to feel to be a part of something and a need to belong, and also a need to know that people care. And so that's what we try to do at Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, is let guys and men know that we care.
This is Santana Hayes. He's with the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. Adrian Wright says, sounds like an awesome program. Hey, Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your comment. Please post and share this show out so we can get the message to the masses, because it's somebody we all know that may need the resources and programs that are being offered at Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. Mitchell Peace Joy Jen also says, thanks for all the work you're doing. She's saying good point. And thank you, Mitchell, for joining us. We're looking at the website now, the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition website, and it says dads make a difference, and they do. They do. Listen, boys and girls need the male and female influence, a positive influence, equally. I mean, a boy needs his dad, but a girl needs her dad too, or at least a positive male role model.
A good point. Very good point. And the numbers, the statistics show when fathers are involved, children do far greater. And that's really what we're really focusing on at Fatherhood. It's about the man, but we really want to make sure those kids, those innocent children, really have an opportunity to be as successful as possible as they can in life. We're not saying that if the father, if there's a single mother, that doesn't happen, but just based on what we see, with numbers, kids do far better when fathers are involved. High school dropout decreases, incarceration rate decreases. You find kids have a greater likelihood of attending college, a greater likelihood of experiencing successful relationship as adults when there's actually a father actively involved in that kid's life.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, and you've touched on this a little bit, but Santana, what are some of the specific challenges that you're hearing dads say that they're having?
Specific challenges. And I'll be honest with you, since I've started with fatherhood over 10 years ago, we've seen tremendous growth as a society, with society even understanding how critically important fathers are. If you go on social media now, it won't be hard for you to find a lot of great videos about dads and their children. I think some of the challenges we still face, when it comes to employment, trying to find jobs that are paying a good livable wage. That's something that, we've seen with our guys who come through fatherhood. Also just relationships, sometimes relationships can be pretty tough. And if you don't really have the resources and the tools that you need to talk things out and to work through whatever difficult challenges you may face with your significant other, it can really create a lot of issues. And so that's one of the things we see a lot of as well. The other thing we see on the legal side, a lot of times fathers want to be involved. A lot of times dads want to have access to their kids. Unfortunately, sometimes the mother may not feel the same way. And so they may bump heads on that, and we'll see issues with visitation, issues with custody. And we try to we actually help fathers navigate all of those type of legal issues as well. So, across the spectrum, I say relationships, economics are some of the two top things we see a lot of. But then at the end of the day, more recently, just the mental health of men. Just like everybody, COVID has been challenging, for the mental health of the entire nation. And so we see men really trying to find a place where they can have an outlet, somebody to talk to. So you don't have to do life alone. Life was never meant to be done alone. And so at Fatherhood, we try to provide that place for fathers and men to just, be able to talk some things out.
Yeah, listen, there is such a stigma attached in some communities, African-American communities of color, particularly, to the mental health process. But it is so needed. You can have Jesus and a counselor too.
Exactly. Yeah. And health is wealth. Mental health is wealth as well. And so, my first part of my career, I spent working in mental health. And I realized quickly that, we just have a perception about it. Sometimes it's not really, it's a negative perception, but everyone has some form of, everyone has a mind, and everyone's mind needs to be healthy. And so sometimes it may just be just a thought process that may not be, helpful, that could create those mental health challenges. So it comes in all different shapes and sizes, but we try to be a place where fathers can come to really get assistance with whatever it is they're dealing with, whatever it may be.
And you know what, Santana, if we can nip it in the bud when it is small, it won't become a big thing.
Exactly.
If we can just recognize I'm a little off today, or maybe I feel a little down, or I feel a little depressed, or I'm not able to connect the dots. Listen, life can get frustrating.
Exactly.
And if you can just have someone that you could talk it out with, a professional that can then lead you in the right direction, the small things won't end up being big things. But again, it's so important that we recognize that. So I love that is a part of it with Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, because it's a small thing, but it's such a big thing too.
That's a good point. Exactly. And so, look at your coping mechanisms. A lot of times men may turn to very negative ways to cope.
That's
right.
right.
So you may not realize it, but all that drinking and all that smoking, what's the deeper issue? What's really happening? And so we try to sometimes, go beneath the surface and really help men to really figure things out. And then sometimes men come to us honestly just for support, just to have a place to go. It may not be any deep issues. They may just want to have some information, some resources, and we provide that as well. So like I said, for wherever stage you're at, we're meeting that guy, at that point.
Yeah, this is Santana Hayes. He is with our Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, and we are talking to him about the various programs and services that they offer. Gary Hunter says, thank you for the courage to stand strong. May God continue your work and your vision for your work. Hey, thank you, Gary, so much for your comment and for watching. And again, post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses and get more information out to the men who need it. How are you getting your clients, at Santana? How do men find you?
Yeah, so we take guys mainly two ways. They can come voluntarily, which pretty much go through the website, connect with the office closest to you. Of course, we're here in Columbia, but we also have offices in in Lexington and in Sumter, and all those small areas in between. If you can drive to us, and we're willing to serve you. We get guys voluntarily, but also from the court. We have a very good relationship with the family courts throughout the entire Midlands, whether that's Richmond, Sumter, or Lexington. And so some fathers are actually court ordered to come to our program. In the Midlands, we actually get more fathers who come voluntarily. They come because they want to come. That's actually the majority of the fathers who come through our program. They come to us as volunteers, but they can come either as volunteers or as court order participants. All you have to do is show up at the office, call us, and we'll get you started in the process. It's pretty quick. It's pretty simple. It's not a lot that you have to do.
Yeah. Do you find that you get a lot of referrals, maybe from guys who have gone through the program, may refer another man?
Most definitely. I think word of mouth is probably our biggest way of reaching fathers. And so, we are always getting guys who said, hey, my friend told me he came through. As a matter of fact, I was at an event we had on Wednesday, and I talked to about 4 or 5 guys, and every one of those guys said it was a friend who told them about the program, or it was a friend who they saw that friend's life begin to change. They saw the positive things happening in that particular friend of theirs life. So they said, hey, you know what, I got to check this out. And so I say, give fatherhood a chance. If you just feel like, hey, there's some things I want to work on, there's some things I want to, sharpen. Fatherhood is a place that we really try to, help everyone to rise together.
That is amazing, man. I am getting chills just hearing you say that, because that's what it's about. I mean, it's so easy to share negative information,
exactly.
To share where you could cop a smoke or whatever, what I'm saying? But for a brother to come to another brother and say, or conversely, as you said, somebody seeing a change in somebody's life and saying, wow, instead of saying something, instead of hating on them, saying, wow, I see a positive change and I want my life to go that way too, it's all positive. We try to be as positive as we can. We got to try to keep positive energy, a positive spirit. What we do at fatherhood, that's the only way change can really happen. We don't try to focus on the negative. There's always going to be negative, but we want to make sure we always, function at a real high level of just positivity.
to let anybody know, any guy who comes to our program, that you can do what you want to do. You can be as successful as you want to be, You can be the greatest dad you want to be. We're here to support that. We're here to, get you to that point.
This is Santana Hayes with the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. Midlands Fathers is the website. If you want more information, you can see Santana's information on the screen there. How do you bring the family members, other family members, into the equation with the dads, Santana?
Yeah, one thing I hadn't mentioned yet. Another thing we do father-child activities. As a matter of fact, tonight we're going to be at the Fireflies. That's a baseball game. So what we do, we provide father-child activities at no cost to the parents who come through our program, and we just get the fathers to engage with their children through those types of activities. If there are issues with the relationship on staff at Fatherhood, we've probably got about 6 certified mediators who can help walk through those relationship issues. So either it's through the activities we do for the children that the entire family can be a part of, or through the mediation services we provide. There's one session we do doing healthy relationships. We actually encourage the mother to come and be a part. In Richland County, they have an amazing space called Dad's Den that the Columbia Chamber of Commerce just recently helped to finish with the Leadership Columbia class of 2021.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. So kids are coming in there, they're having fun. The dads are bringing their families in there, watching movies, playing games, shooting pool. It's a real cool space in the Richland County location. So we just try to provide activities and events for there to be a real organic, gathering of the family along with that father.
Right. Mitchell Peace Joy Jen wants to know, Santana, does the fatherhood program have a goal to reach teen and young adult fathers? Thanks for your question, Mitchell.
Hey, great question. So right now we're actually in the process of, this is our first year doing a program called Building Better Bridges. And that program is specifically geared towards teenagers and young adults. And so if you're interested in that, reach out to us. We have a cohort that'll be starting soon in the next few weeks. We just finished 2 summer cohorts at Ben Lippen, which was a massive success. And it's something that, like I said, is new. So it's kind of people starting to catch on to it. But yeah, we actually are focusing on teens and young adults now with our Building Better Bridges program.
Couple of weeks ago, a month ago, it was in the news that the city of Columbia's Mayor Steve Benjamin put together an initiative, or was part of an initiative, to put funds, in the hands of some dads. Tell us a little bit about that. How is that working?
Yeah, so that is the Columbia Climb program, and the Columbia Climb program is really a way to get a set amount of income into fathers' hands each month. We were chosen to be a pilot. We weren't able to choose the fathers. We simply, our participants are just, were part of the pilot, essentially. And that's actually happening as we speak. So that is actually about to ramp up within the next month. Those fathers will be being notified. They'll be given all the information necessary to begin the process of receiving the funds. And so it's another way to just make sure that the playing field is level, to make sure that people have access to what they need. In Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s last book, Where Do We Go From Here? It was actually one of the ideas that he laid out in regards to how to help eliminate poverty in the United States. Funny enough, that is really how Fatherhood got started, the organization. They were trying to figure out how can we eliminate poverty in South Carolina? And they recognized that fatherhood was one of those key ingredients to making sure poverty didn't exist. I don't believe in poverty. I believe poverty is a demonic system. I don't believe that anybody should have to live in poverty, especially in a country like the United States. And so while we as an organization were just chosen to be a part, we didn't necessarily do anything except for provide the fathers. We do recognize that it's an opportunity for some men to have a step up and have some help. So those guys are being notified actually now as we speak, and the funds will start coming out, I believe, next month.
So how many gentlemen are in the program? How much are they getting? And is there a stipulation on what they can do with these funds?
Good question. The program selected 100 fathers, and they will be getting $500 a month right now for the next 12 months.
Wow.
It'll be coming via a card. There are no stipulations in regards to what they can do with the money. But one thing I know about many of the guys who come through our program, they oftentimes are looking to do the right thing and are looking to, elevate themselves. So one individual who actually I think they spoke with, he immediately said, "Okay, great. This helps me to, make sure my child support is taken care of. I'm going to be able to, make sure this daycare bill can be taken care of." And so really, honestly, that's what we're expecting to see. We're expecting to see these guys use these monies to just really continue to help strengthen their families.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're talking to Santana Hayes. He is with the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, and he joins us to tell us about all of the amazing work that they're doing. Before we go, want to ask you about COVID. How has COVID affected your outreach, Santana?
Yeah, it definitely had an impact. When COVID happened, we, for the safety of our staff, we put, safety precautions in place. We were essentially, our office were closed to the public. We phased back into offering services, and we're now actually fully operational, where we're taking the precautions necessary. Of course, we're still doing temperature checks. We're still doing, mask, social distancing, the whole nine. But, with vaccinations happening, and at that point in time when we did open, COVID numbers were going down. We know things have kind of taken a turn. We made a decision to go back to regular services, but we're still watching it very closely. Our leadership is, but right now, if the father comes, they still have the option to attend our sessions virtually or in person. We still try to be cautious of the amount of fathers that we allow to come into the space. But like many places, we were actually kind of going back to somewhat of a normal schedule.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure those are some of the virtual meetings. That's something you will probably continue to keep.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We're going to keep doing virtual. If a person doesn't feel safe, if a person doesn't want to come in, we'll get them connected via Zoom, whether that's their, speaking with a case manager via Zoom, or that's attending those weekly group sessions via Zoom. We're still offering that as a major way to get information and resources out to our fathers.
All right. Well, this is Santana Hayes. You can see their website, midlandsfathers.com, for more information. Santana's information is on the screen. If you or a dad that just needs a little help, maybe needs some of the resources, programs, and services. You guys, you said in addition to the Midlands, where else are you located?
So we're Columbia, Sumter, and Lexington.
Columbia, Sumter, and Lexington here in the Midlands. So please contact Santana and have him get connected with the man in your life that may need some help. And listen, we all need a little help sometimes. And it's good to know that there are organizations like the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition that are really looking out for the men in our community. Santana, thank you so much again for coming on, for the work that you're doing. And please keep us informed if there's anything else going on that we can help you get the word out about.
Will do. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, too. All right. That's Santana Hayes with Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. Coming up next, the music and journey of True. We're going to hear a little bit of his music and talk to him a little bit more. That's coming up next on Coping with COVID.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too. Get the Dash for Southern Soul cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or TaylorMade Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
Hey there. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. Listen, go over to the TaylorMade production page. That's the home of Coping with COVID. Please hit like and follow and share this great information out. We are looking to get the message to the masses about all of this incredible information that we are sharing with you. We're on the air Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, on first Monday with comedian George Wallace. On Wednesday, it's Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council. Hey, today we are talking about men that are doing some amazing things. We just talked to Santana Hayes with the Midlands Fatherhood Coalition. If you missed the interview, please go back, hit the replay and check it out because it is amazing, amazing resources. And I know you know someone that may need the help. Coming up next, we're going to talk with the musical artist who performed this.
Dear God, it's been hard. Hey, but I know you're the only reason why I'm here right now. All I can do is trust in you. All I can do, yeah, is trust in you. All I can do, ain't no way I can hold on this alone. Trust in you. Took my heart, shot it up, stumped it in the ground like I'm not.
Now that's the music of True. Columbia, South Carolina native is a multi-talented artist who raps, sings, and produces his own music with a unique old school groove, with his core influences being what he calls 90s era hip hop with a soulful feeling. Well, listen, let me tell you that. That's not old school for me, but it's old school for you. True is an artist who follows the feeling of his music while remaining true to his standards. True hopes to make a meaningful impact with the culture of hip hop and music as a whole through music with a message. Thank you so much, True, for joining us. I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so funny. You're so soft-spoken. I would never think someone as soft-spoken as you would put together all of this music. Do you think that music for you was an outlet? Because are you shy?
No, I'm not shy.
Okay. You just soft-spoken.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't think that my voice was like that when I was little,
okay.
But somehow when I got older,
wow.
Wow. On me.
Listen, what is your first memory of music?
My first memory of music, I would say, I remember standing outside on the front porch singing the Manhattans, Shining Star.
Wow.
At nighttime.
What now? Was this something that your parents were listening to that had exposed you to?
No. The most music I heard growing up was usually gospel. But when I got older, maybe around 9th grade or something like that, I wanted to learn more about music myself. And I guess I got into the more older stuff like the 70s and all of that. Because in hip hop, I would hear these old songs in there and I would go back and find out what that song was.
Right, right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So who and what influenced you? I know you said you like old school hip hop, obviously the Manhattans, that's R&B and soul. Specifically, who are some of the folks that influence you and what kind of music?
As far as rap, my main influence would have to be Tupac, T.I. T.I. is not old school, but him, T.I., DMX, Goody Mob. Those, I would say those are like that's like my core influence right there. With the R&B, I would have to say Sam Cooke, R. Kelly, Bobby Womack.
Wow.
Maybe Johnny Taylor. Because all Sam Cooke, Bobby Womack, and Johnny Taylor, they're kind of intertwined a little bit.
And I was going to say that you are talking a lot about Southern soul. You know, that's what I hear. And why? What do you think is the connection between you and the Southern soul influence? If you say you didn't get it listening to it, you know, with your parents. Somebody in somebody's cookout was listening to some Johnny Taylor.
I'm not.
Because
really
that's showing
sure.
up cookout music with a fish sandwich with mustard on it. So what?
Yeah. I'm not really sure where that came from because I remember even growing up in church. Maybe that has something to do with it. But I know growing up in church, being younger, you know, singing in the choir and stuff. I used to kind of always be able to have that kind of old Southern sound in my singing.
Right.
But I didn't do it. I didn't do it growing up because I felt like I was playing around, like trying to be funny. But when I got older, I guess with the hip hop and the soul samples and all of that, it's something about that 90s music with that soul in it. It just hits me in a way other stuff don't.
Yeah.
So I guess that just brought that out of me.
We're talking to singer-songwriter, Columbia, South Carolina native True about his music and his journey. So what was your process? How did you go from being a lover of music, singing on the choir, to actually being an artist?
The first time I wrote or started trying to write songs, I would say when Soulja Boy came out with Crank That.
Really? Wow. Really? So
yeah.
It wasn't,
When he came out with that, for whatever reason, I wanted to try to make my own Crank That. And actually, when he came out with that, that's what other people were doing because there was Crank That Batman, Crank That Superman, or Crank That Spider-Man, SpongeBob, all this different stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I started, and then it just turned into making up my own stuff about my life, how I feel. And even with music, I've always had this thing where it's like rhythms I've never heard of before. I just have them in my head or in my heart, I guess. So I would just make those rhythms up as I'm writing.
Wow. Well, let's hear a little bit of one of your songs, Closer to Dying. You say you write about what things that are on your mind, what you experience. Let's listen to a little bit of this and we'll come back and talk to you more about it.
I truly ever made to be something that seemed anything great was far from it. I had to stay down bad, never bubbling, struggling in my mind. Same ones that said they love me, put me down. Fake friends set me up, trying to bring me down. If it was up to them, true wouldn't be alright. I do my best to stay through the rain, fighting hard every day. I live to see a change, making moves to improve my life daily, being true and trying to do right, baby. Hey, to me, life ain't a
music from True, Closer to Dying. Was that a situation where you really felt that? I mean, because it sounds like to me, just listening to the lyrics, it wasn't, and this is what I think, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, it wasn't a physical dying as much it was a career dying, because you talk about haters and stuff like that. Tell us about that song.
That song, I remember I wrote that when I was living with I think I lived with my grandma, or my mom still then, but I wrote that song because I was just in a place where I had all these different things going on in my mind, and then, you know, life being a certain way, people, you know, I felt like was real and they ain't real, and dealing with that, trying to go up in life, and life seeming like it's staying
pulling you
like
down.
this, making me go back the other way. As far as the dying, I mean, all of that together, kind of like what y'all touched on earlier about mental health.
Yeah.
Depression and
it's real.
Thoughts. That's what I was talking about with that.
Yeah. We're talking to a True. He's a singer-songwriter from Columbia, South Carolina. So what is your songwriting process, True? Does the music come first? Do the words come first? Are you just totally inspired by something? Tell us about the songwriting process.
There's definitely all hint of inspiration first, but sometimes it is the words, and other times it's just the beat. Like a rhythm might come to me, and then I go, you know, lay out the rhythm and the beat and everything, and then the words start coming. And sometimes words might come to me, and I got a whole song, and I have a flow of it, but I don't have a beat yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends.
Yeah. What do you write, sing, and rap about? Or do you have a theme, or is it anything?
If there was an overarching theme in all my music, it would just be authenticity. Just being open and honest and vulnerable in what I'm talking about, because that's why my name is True with my music. I want people to know, you know, if you don't get anything else from what you hear me talking about, that, you know, I'm speaking the truth, whether it's about me or if I'm talking about something, I'm trying to only speak about something I actually have some knowledge about, that I've seen myself, whether in my life or somebody else's life. And just being true to myself,
right?
Not getting caught up in people's opinions or society and the different stuff culture be pushing out to people to try to sway them one way, just remaining true to who I am.
Yeah. Well, you sing, you rap, you write. Do you play any instruments?
Not like someone that's classically trained, no. But I make up stuff on the piano, so that's how I make most of my beats. Like, I'll just make up my own,
bang them out,
and then lay it out. And I taught myself how to play the drums a little bit, but I'm nothing like, you know, somebody that's really been trained.
Yeah, no, but there are some people that are amazing musicians that aren't trained formally, but, you know, listen, anything you practice long enough, you get good at. So if you're sitting at the house and you got a drum set or piano and you just bang, 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 and you know, if you're serious about it, it's going to turn out sounding pretty good at some point. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So you released several songs. What are your long-term goals, True? Distribution? You want to sign with a record company? You want to tour? What do you want to do?
I know I don't want to sign with a label because I believe the way things are now, there's not really a reason for me to do that unless, you know, I'm seeking a certain level of promotion or something like that. Because you can put out a song, you can promote it yourself with what is within your power and reach
Yeah.
people. So I don't want to do that, but I just hope to be at a place where I can keep putting out music that people, you know, hear it, respect it, of course, like it and share it. That it actually speaks to things that I feel, at least in my experience, haven't really been spoken about or not really shown to younger people. Like it's okay to have flavor and be cool and be down and all of that, but that don't mean you gotta, you know, live a certain way or move a certain way just because, you know, they or he or she say you should do this. You know, make sure it's actually in your best interest to do that.
Right. Right. Kay Spanberg says, great music, theme, authenticity. Hey, thank you, Kay, so much for joining us. Thanks for your comment. And please post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. We're talking to True. He is a Columbia, South Carolina-based singer-songwriter. So are you performing anywhere that people can check you out? And how can they get your music? Is it for sale?
Yeah, my music's out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. It should be anywhere that you find anybody else's music. As far as performing, it's been a minute. I've had a couple of things going on here and there that's kind of been getting in the way of that, but I'm open to it. Still just getting some stuff together right now.
And of course, you can see his website. It's tru3music.com. We're checking out. This is the website right here, tru3music.com. That's how he spells True. How did you come up with that spelling of True? TRU3. I mean, if you look at it phonetically, it is true. I don't know about the three, but it is true. But so how did you come up with that to name yourself True and then spell it that way?
Well, I don't know if people still do this, but I know when I was coming up, kind of around high school, you would text things in a different way. And I just, you know, I looked at that trying to figure out, I want to make a name that is unique.
Yeah,
it does reflect
it is.
Me. And people that know me know I still text like that. So that's how I came up with that one.
Yeah. This is a Columbia, South Carolina native True. He's a singer-songwriter. You can check out his website right here. And we've been playing some of his music, and we're going to close with another one of his pieces, Deep in My Heart. Tell us about the song we're getting ready to play, True, Deep in My Heart.
This song is basically me expressing, you know, the love or affection that I have for a female. And throughout the song, I'm basically saying to her, you know, what may have happened to her before I came into the picture, and whatever shame and guilt and feelings of not being able to be deserving of the type of love I'm expressing in the song. I'm saying to her that she is worth that. And, you know, just letting her know if we walk this thing out in a certain way, we can, you know, do it.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to check it out. You can see his official website right there on the screen, 2ru3music.com. And this is True. True, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your music and your message. And listen, good luck to you. God bless. I just believe God for whatever it is he has in store for you. I applaud you for stepping out on faith and doing your thing. And, you know, you're talking about being true. You know, we have to be true to our vision, true to our journey. And I'll tell you this is so very cliche-ish, but, you know, the old saying, what God has for you is for you. To me, that doesn't only mean that it's for you to do, it's for you to see. Oftentimes, I learned this when moving here to Columbia 20 years ago, I had an experience, and I won't go into it, but it helped me to understand that when God has a plan and a purpose for your life, You've got to listen to him, because there are going to be people around you that haven't heard from God. This is your relationship with Christ. You know, this is what God has told you. And other people may not see it. They may not get it. They might understand it. They may not even like it. But you've got to keep your eyes focused on Christ, like a horse with blinders on. He will lead you and guide you. And the people around you, even though they may not be haters, they may love you, they may support you, but because God didn't tell them, you've got to focus on who God told. And in this instance, it was you. So I am believing God for your journey, and I wish you much luck and success. That's true, y'all. We're going to close out the interview with his song about the girl that he used to date, I'm assuming. And this is Deep in My Heart. Thanks, True. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Check this out, Sean. I gotta tell you something. Oh, Baby, tell me, can you hear me? Hey, tell me, can you feel me? Baby girl, I did my best to be sincere, show my intentions clear, hoping you see and dealing with me, there's no need in the fear. Cautious in conversation so I don't come off impatient, appearing as one who loves to use you, leaving you scarred and naked. Baby, I'm honest and true, Your conscience is smooth, A brother whose mind is made to cherish you and not bruise. Internal paths where weakness in your heart can be seen, but manifested through the tears exuding pain as they stream. If you feel me, then follow me to a place of connection where two can become one through honest love and affection. Those who struggle may test it, and others may come against it. Long as we know we got what's real, hand in hand we'll be stepping. My motive's to only show you that my word is my bond, and my only plan is to roll with you and never bring harm. If you've ever had a question about my life, where you are, shorty, just know that you're deep in my heart. You're deep in my heart. Deep in my heart.
Deep in My Heart from True. Hey, don't forget to check out his website and support his music. I'm Tre Tailor. Listen, thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. Don't forget, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please go to the Tailor Made production page and inbox me. We would love to feature you on the show. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwith@tretailor@gmail.com. You can see the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. copingwith@tretailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like SCDHEC, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, Palmetto Media Connections, the Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, Palmetto Painting Services, also the Comet Bus System, Javis Tax Services, and Richland and Kershaw County 5th Circuit Solicitors Office. Speaking of which, they will be on next Thursday. They're on once a month. Attorney Byron Gibson, and the 5th Circuit Solicitor's Office will be on next Thursday. They've got a big warrant resolution workshop that they are putting on in September, and they're also talk about some past cases. Wellness Wednesday is next Wednesday. Every Wednesday, In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council presents Wellness Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we're going to talk about breastfeeding. It's National Breastfeeding Week, and we'll talk to Dr. Tisha Felder and Dr. Jonelle Jackson about Mocha Mamas and the challenges and the triumphs that women of color are having with breastfeeding. That and more coming up on Coping with COVID. As usual, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. Today, August the 13th, Jesus says, I love this, learn to enjoy your life more. Relax, remembering that I am God with you. I crafted you with enormous capacity to know me and enjoy my presence. When my people wear sour faces and walk through their lives with resigned rigidity, I am displeased, God says. When you walk through a day with childlike delight, savoring every blessing, you proclaim your trust in me, your ever-present shepherd. The more you focus on my presence with you, the more fully you can enjoy life. Glorify me through your pleasure in me. Trust you, thus you proclaim my presence to the watching world. Don't worry, be happy. That's what it says today. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Friday, August 13th. Hey, don't forget about the big back to school bash going on at the Lakeview Empowerment Center in West Columbia. Free haircuts, free food, games, and school supplies. That's tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And also Adventure and Absolute Total Care is having a big back to school bash today from, I think it's 5:30 to 8. It's drive through, pick up your school supplies and go on about your business. Me and my babies are going over there too. We're going to Lakeview tomorrow too. So listen, until then, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Stay safe, be careful, wear your mask, and get your vaccination. See ya.
Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.